Hello students, hopefully you are having an amazing day. I'm Muhammad Naeem Amin Bhatti and today we are going to discuss the key facts and the character analysis of the novel Mayor of the Casterbridge written by the very famous novelist Mr. Thomas Hardy. So let's begin today's lecture. The key facts about the main ideas we are going to learn. The full title of this novel is The Life and the Death of the Mayor of Casterbridge. That is a story of a man of character. Its author and writer is Thomas Hardy. It's basically a novel, and the genre of this work is tragedy and naturalism, and basically a novel that charts the protagonist's moral and psychological development, which is often called that Bildungsroman. If we talk about the language that was written in the English language, time and place is basically it was written during 1885 to 1886 at Dorchester, England, in a fictional town has been represented as the Casterbridge. Date of the first publication is the novel appeared in the serial form of the concurrently in the Graphic magazine in England and Harper's Weekly magazine in the United States from January to May 1886. It was first published in the book form in 1886. If we talk about the publishers, the Smith Elder publishers were publishing this novel in England and Henry Hall publishers were publishing this novel in America. The narrator is basically the unknown narrator, speaks in the third person narrative. Point of view is that the point of view is for the most of the part limited to the observations concerning the external world of the characters, how they act, what they see and what they say. Occasionally an omniscient narrator breaks in to provide the necessary informations or backstory, as the chapter 22 where the narrative breaks the chronological flow of the story in order to provide the essential information about the events that occurred in the previous night. That is basically some type of the fragmentation, we can see it. And the tone is tragic and it's a melodramatic tone and naturalistic. Tense has been used in the past and especially in the past perfect and past continuous tense, and settings and times is in mid 1800s. If we talk about the setting of place, it has been happening in Casterbridge, which is situated in a fictional town. It is basically, and situation is of the England, and some of the critics says that it is basically another name of the Dorchester. That the Hardy has described actually Dorchester, but with a fictional name which is Casterbridge. If we talk about the protagonist is Michael Hanchard, who is the mayor of the Casterbridge, but the life event has been described 20 years earlier in the first chapter, and then the story starts from 18 years after that story. So major conflict is the racked with the guilt over the selling his wife and child. Hanchard tries to escape from the shadow of the past and his overwhelming need to punish himself for it. If we talk about the rising action, the Hanchard arranges to remarry to his wife Suzanne. The climax is basically affirmative women who 18 years before offered him the wine and he drank that alcohol, and after that in insane condition he sold out his wife and his daughter, recognizing Hanchard as the man who sold the wife and child to the fair in the Wyden Prioress de Villers. His shameful secret is to the town of the Casterbridge. If we talk about the falling action, having fallen out with the Elizabeth Jane, his only hope for renewed life, Hanchard slinks off the humble country cottage to die. By the way, Elizabeth Jane is his daughter's name, which is now grew up. And themes the importance of the characters, the value of the good name, and the indelibility of the past. The motives are the coincidence, the tension between the tradition and innovations, the tension between the public life and the private life. If we talk about the symbols, the caged goldfinch, that is some type of birds, a small sparrow-like bird, the bull and the collisions of the wagons in the middle of this novel. If we talk about the technique, it is basically the foreshadowing technique. Farfree, who is the character of this novel, accumulation of the Hanchard's business, social position and family is first foreshadowed by the Hanchard's fair day of celebration, which takes place alongside the Scottishman's successful party. By the way, Farfree is basically from the Scottish origin and his forefathers were belonging from the Scotland. Now we are moving towards the character analysis of the Mayor of the Casterbridge, which is written by Thomas Hardy. If we talk about the protagonist of this novel, the very first character is the Michael Hanchard as the novel's protagonist. Hanchard is the man of the character to whom the subtitle of the Mayor of the Casterbridge alludes. When the novel opens, Hanchard is disconsolated with the 21 years of the old Hay Treasure, who is the drunken rake, sells his wife and daughter at the country fair. 18 years later, Hanchard has risen to become a mayor and the most accomplished corn merchant in the town of the Casterbridge. Although he tries to atone for his youthful crime, he focuses too much on his past misdeeds and enters to a downward trajectory that embroils him to the fierce competition with a popular Scottish man named Donald Farfrae. Okay, the second character of this novel is Elizabeth Jane Newson, the daughter of Suzanne and Newson. Newson is basically the person who bought the wife and Elizabeth Jane, the daughter of Mr. Hanchard, from him. Elizabeth Jane bears the same name as the child born to the Suzanne and Hanchard, who actually dies shortly after the Hanchard sells to the Suzanne and his daughter. Over the course of the novel, the independent and the self-possessed Elizabeth Jane transforms herself from the unrefined country girl into the cultured young lady. Though she experiences much hardships over the course of the novel, she maintains an even temperament throughout the novel. Now the third lecture is basically Donald Farfrae, basically a Scottish man who arrives in the Casterbridge at the same time when Suzanne Hanchard and Elizabeth Jane arrives. Farfrae's business efficiency, good humor, and polish makes him extremely popular among the town citizens. These same qualities, however, eventually make him Hanchard's rival. Despite his tension in their friendship, Farfrae remains fair-minded, patient, and even kind in his dealings with his ruined Hanchard. Lucetta Templeman is basically the girlfriend of Mr. Hanchard, a woman whom Hanchard meets, courts, and proposes to marry. Lucetta bucks convention, choosing a love whom she pleases. Like Hanchard, she is guided by her emotions, and her reactions are thus not always rational. If we talk about Suzanne Hanchard, she is the wife of Mr. Hanchard, the ex-wife of Hanchard, I would say, a meek, unassuming woman married to the Michael Hanchard. When the novel opens, overly concerned with the property, Suzanne attempts to keep secrets about Hanchard's and Elizabeth Jane's identities in order to give the appearance of the perfect family harmony. Mr. Newson is the person who bought the Hanchard's wife and his daughter, a seller who buys Suzanne and Elizabeth Jane from the Hanchard. Newson is absent from most of the novel. His eventual reappearance contributes to the feeling that Hanchard is beset by the fate. So the next character is Joshua Job. He is the man who Hanchard intends to hire his assistant before meeting to Farfrae. Minor character is basically the affirmative woman who offers a drink to Mr. Hanchard, and Abel Whittle, one of the workers in Hanchard's hay yard, He is basically a hypocritic person who makes both of the characters, the Hanchard and Farfree, to quarrel with each other. As Farfree thinks that Hanchard is too rough with Whittle when he is constantly late for work. So, these were some of the key facts and characters of the Mayor of the Casterbridge. We will discuss the summary and themes and symbolism in our next lecture. So, till the next lecture, it's goodbye from me.